What's going on, everybody? It is Juan from the Refined Jet. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about a very controversial topic that is going to piss off a lot of people. So, if you're easily triggered, do not watch this video. Just skip right through it. And it's going to be about marriage in the military. So, I'm going to talk to you about things that I saw in the military when I would be for marriage in the military as well. Which I'll be honest, yeah, you'll see about that. So, like I said, this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers, and on top of that, I just gotta say this so the rest of the video goes smoothly and I don't have to continue saying it. If this does not apply to you, I am not talking about you. I am simply saying what I saw and the stereotypes that a lot of people play into. And yes, stereotypes do exist for a reason. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. So let's begin. So marriage, the union between two. Oh, hold on. Before I even begin to that, all right. Full disclosure, guys, I've never been married. I've never got married while I was in the Marine Corps. Didn't intend to. I was far from that. Don't have any kids. So yeah, I'm only saying this as an observer, looking from the outside in. Yeah, okay. So just before I get all the hate comments and saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, what do you know? Have you ever been married? Oh, you're not married, blah, blah, blah. Listen, okay, I'm telling you, I've spoken to enough people about this. So yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about in most regards. Yeah, I've never been married because of a lot of the shit that I'm going to talk about right now. So let's get to it. Okay, so as I was saying, marriage, a union between two people, man, woman, man, whatever the hell, whatever in between people identify with nowadays, I don't care. I ain't judging. Anyway, so basically what's supposed to be a partnership between two people, you stick together through thick and thin, you make it through the deployments, blah, 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 you raise kids, you have a family, and, you live happily ever after, right? That's the cookie cutter way of looking at things, but let's just be honest, we live in the real world. That's not the way things always work. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they don't work out that way, especially in today's world. So things that I saw a lot of, and like I said, this is not every single one, but one of the big things that you see, and it's this most common stereotype, but stereotypes exist for a reason, and is infidelity. All right, and on both sides. All right, but I saw a lot, and I can only imagine what it is now, especially with Tinder and social media and things like that. Yeah, infidelity is a big thing in the military. But when you think about it, guys, think about this for a second, all right? And a lot of you guys that are young, you're in your early 20s, whatever. You're just nothing but a bag of hormones. You're not thinking straight. You're not thinking with this head. You're thinking with that one. You take a girl from her hometown and you put her in a military base where she's surrounded by 15 other young, fit, good-looking dudes at any given time that are willing to give her all the attention, that are willing to do everything for her because they're so completely sex deprived. Do the math. Especially if she's at the top of her sexual prime, she's at the peak of her fertility, she's at the peak of her physical attractiveness and everything, because mostly women in their early 20s are. Obviously, some women can push it to even later, but you get the point. Just understand what you're getting yourself into. Understand that a lot of times, guys do not pay attention to this. They think that she's going to be faithful, whatever, and turns out that, yeah, she wasn't. She cheated on him with Jody while he was away. Believe me, I've heard it so many times. I even knew guys that were honestly in straight up denial. They raised a kid that they don't even know if it was theirs. And they just decided, fuck it, whatever, I'm going to put up with it. Guys, come on, do not do that. It's just the worst thing you can ever do to yourself. And especially a lot of the times the women I see a lot of these guys date are not the best quality. And look, guys, like I said, if you're gonna get triggered by this video. But a lot of times what I see is guys get the lowest hanging fruit. They get the girls that are hanging around military bases, which a lot of them are divorced or single mothers with a bunch of different kids from God knows how many different dudes. Believe me, I've seen it. They're the ones that hang around the bases. They're strippers or girls that are trying to find a way to get out of their situation, you know, whether it's financial or maybe they're in an abusive household or whatever. And then here comes a guy and he's like, oh, I'm going to be the white knight. I'm going to be the savior. I'm going to be the Captain Save-A-Ho. And you think you're going to turn a hoe into a housewife. Guys, that is not the way things work. Please think with your head, not with your dick. Yeah. A lot of guys I know, they get into this lifestyle and they get into the military, they get into a marriage and they think that it's going to be happily ever after because they put a ring on it and they think, well, she's going to change. She's not going to change. Yeah, a lot of times you see guys that they get into this relationship with this chick that's been with like already several guys. You already know her. You already know what she is. You know, she ends with one guy and then you see her a week later on base at the PX with, you know, another guy. And sometimes these guys are even like already higher ranking. They're not the lower enlisted. It happens still to this day. I'm like, dude, didn't you like? Don't you know this already? Haven't you like figured it out? And you see that, you know, and then they get all depressed when she cheats on him. Like, well, what was she like when you met her? You know, what kind of person was she? You know, did she hook up with you on the first night? I mean, whatever. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you know, probably not the kind of person you want to spend the rest of your life with, supposedly. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of this. You know, and chances are, if you know, especially with this generation with social media and everything, if she's somebody or he, whatever, or you know, even fuck, man, even I've seen so many Marines that I was a Marine, so I'm just gonna say Marine, but you know, apply it to your respective services. You know, I've seen some Marines that they were also very insecure, very self-conscious about themselves, and they feel like they needed to get validation from God knows how many women. So they also cheated while they were away on deployment or whatever. But yeah, it does happen. So if you're one of these people that, you know, you're still very insecure in yourself, you need validation all the time, you probably shouldn't get married, I'm just saying. Next one, I saw a lot of unhappy marriages. This also stems from the fact that, in a way, the military kind of, and this is another point I'm going to talk about, but basically the military incentivizes a lot of this behavior. So you see a lot of guys, they get married with somebody they just met, they don't properly vet their potential partner. And this is a huge mistake I see a lot of guys make. So in an ideal world, you know, you would meet somebody, you'd spend a couple years with them, maybe cohabitate for a bit, maybe travel, do something, and you properly vet them so you know exactly who this person is. Well, in the military, it's not like you're able to really do a whole lot of that. And like I said, a lot of the girls that hang around military bases, you know, it's kind of like the low-hanging fruit. So a lot of guys, they get into this marriage, they figure out that, well, this person's not who they said they were, they got married, and they realize that, you know, they just weren't compatible. And, you know, but a lot of times because they had kids with this person, they're in debt, whatever the case might be, they figured, well, I got to stay in, I got to make it a career. And they turn into, not all, but many of these toxic leaders that just basically stay in the military because they can't do anything else. Their skills do not transfer, you know, out in the civilian sector. Next one, and kind of tying into this, but what really ties in with a lot of the other ones is people get married for the wrong reasons. I see a lot of people get married because they think, well, they haven't had sex in a while. They figured, well, you know, with this person, I'm going to get sex on a regular basis, and I get to live out in town. You know, in a way, the military, like I said, it incentivizes this. You know, as a junior enlisted guy, you know, you live in the barracks, which sucks. Anybody who's ever lived in the barracks will tell you it fucking sucks. There's nothing to do around there. And you know, you get fucked with all the time by your higher ups and shit like that. So you figure, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go and live out in town, or you know, I'm gonna live on base, and you know, my higher ups can't really come in and invade my privacy, or you know, invade my privacy as much. You know, especially because I'm married, you know, I'm a grown man, whatever, blah blah blah. and they figured, that's a good way out of it. There's benefits to it. A lot of times the girl thinks, especially if she's around a military base, man, she knows exactly what she's doing, man. She is not her first rodeo. Or she probably knows enough people that have done it. So she figures, whatever, I'm going to just shack up with a military guy and, get the benefits, get this, get that, get all these privileges. And also, I mean, Jesus Christ, I saw some wives that, they really held their husband hostage. I know it's gonna sound like I'm ragging on women a lot. It's not. That's not the case. But like I said, if this is not you, I'm not talking about you. But I saw a lot of women that basically held their husbands hostage, and were like, well, if he does anything to me or does anything to I'm gonna say that he abused me or whatever, because they know that they'll win. The thing with the military is the military protects the woman very well. The military is still very in that old world, chivalrous, blue-pilled mentality in which they protect the woman. The woman's a protected sex. She can pretty much do whatever she wants, and the guy has to pretty much suck it up. A lot of these supposed alpha males that I saw in many places I was at. They were alpha males when they were working, but when they went home, they were the plow horse of their wives. They basically did whatever she said, and he had to do pretty much anything and everything, and he had to pay for everything too. Not always the case, guys. So, but yeah, it does happen. I see a lot of people getting married, and they get married for the wrong reasons. A lot of guys getting married to strippers, which is a terrible idea. Don't ever do that. That's not good wifey material. And like I said, kind of like with the whole, my next point is, I saw that, the military protects the women. They don't tell you a lot of things. They don't tell you things, the things that you need to know, because it makes them look bad, especially now in the age of equality and blah, 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 in the age of feminism. It's like, it's you can't talk about certain things. You can't talk about, what your wife might do. You can't talk about how a lot of these women are out in town. I did get some kind of a little bit of a briefing, but it was like an unofficial thing, like, hey, yeah, careful with women out in town, because they're just looking to get your money. The military doesn't tell you about a lot of things, because to them it's, like I said, they incentivize it. And in my opinion, it's a really, really big problem that I see, that a lot of people really do get married for the wrong reasons, and the military kind of, they kind of pay for it. It's like giving a junkie money all the time. They're gonna keep doing it. That's the way I see it personally. I honestly think what they should do is they should make it hard to get married when you're in the military, especially for the spouses that live out in town. For the women that live out in town. It's like, make it a lot harder. Don't give them so many benefits, and see how much the marriage rate is gonna drop, and that'll probably help things out, because a lot of things happen, man. A lot of things happen that I saw. And like the next point I'm bringing up is the women who hang around on base. Like I said, these are not high quality women for the most part. A lot of them are, strippers or single mothers with several kids from several different men that knocked them up over the years. Is that something you want to deal with? I wouldn't. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm just picky, but I saw a lot of guys that, they could do so much better, and they get with this person. I'm like, dude, what are you doing with this girl? And he's like, oh man, I'm just lonely, or oh man, she loves me. I'm like, no, dude, she loves you because she loves what you can provide for her. She doesn't love you. As soon as she gets a better deal, she's gonna go with him, and you end up heartbroken, and you end up with all the debt too. So, guys, be really careful with this. I'm gonna link a video down below with a channel that I personally follow a lot, and I think you should too, especially if you want to be a refined gent and you want to navigate the world with your eyes wide open, not shut. You want to navigate the sexual marketplace with women and things like that. It's called Entrepreneurs in Cars. No, they are not they are not a paid sponsor for this video. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, apart from the fact that I'm just a fan. They're talking about military men and women problems, and a retired U.S. Army major who's a clinical psychologist called Scott Klajic. He is now in the Treasure State Psychological Services. He talks about a lot of the things that he saw when he was in the Army, about marriage and things like that. And just FYI, guys, a lot of guys get, you know, because like, you know, we breakups affect us in a very different way. A lot of guys commit suicide not really just because of combat or things they saw. A lot of times they commit suicide because, you know, they just got a Dear John letter. They found out their wife was cheating on them or whatever, and a lot of times, you know, I mean, this is like they went through all this other shit. They were overseas. They served their country, and they, you know, they had to put up with all this other shit to come home and find their wife was unfaithful. Or, you know, just in general, things didn't work out. And, you know, a lot of times guys like to, like, use women as a kickstand. And women do it too to men. You know, people using each other as an emotional kickstand, which is a terrible idea. Don't ever do it. But yeah, they hit up on a lot of really good points in this video that I'm going to link down below. It's very long, so it's an hour and a half long. So I would say if you really want to watch it, especially now with this whole COVID thing going on, I mean, even though things are easing, might be a very useful thing for you guys to do, especially if you know, especially if you like if you're a potential spouse. Look into this, please. You know, do not screw over your husband or wife, whatever. If you're a service member, please look into this, because this is a very important thing for you guys to understand, along with all the others. Understand marriage law and the way the military views it, if you don't want to end up getting royally screwed. And yeah, so that is, I guess, yeah, I know that was probably a lot. Now, I'm going to go into when I would be for getting married in the military. All right. So just a little disclaimer, there aren't a whole lot of reasons why I think you should get married in the military. Partly because, like I said, it's not like you're going to get a whole lot of high quality. The potentials for something going wrong are astronomically high. You know, oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, you know, so I was a Marine. I did almost 7 years, spent the last 3 of those overseas at U.S. embassies. So my experience is a little bit different. I was in a relationship in the later half of that with somebody, with a foreign girl, but she didn't know anything about the military. You know, she didn't get any benefits or any of that crap. Yeah, in a lot of these places, guys, there's not a whole lot to do. All you see is nothing but bars, strip clubs, tattoo shops, and like a couple restaurants. So there isn't a whole lot to do. A lot of times you see guys that they just get these girls, but it's like, you know, she's already been around half the base already. So yeah, just saying, you know, if you're with a girl from out in town, you might want to be very careful with what you're doing. So all right, so let's get into when I would be for it. So you need to have a strong foundation in your relationship. First and foremost, a couple months is not going to cut it as, oh, we build a strong foundation. And no, you're not. You're just letting your emotions take the best of you. You haven't discovered shit yet. If you have a strong foundation, you've been with somebody for a while, you've already properly vetted them, you know what they're about, you have similar values, things like that, then definitely okay, I can see where that may lead to a good marriage in the military. But you need to have a strong foundation. If you're very flaky with things, if either of you is very flaky with things, if you're bad with you know, spending money, if you're easily like impulsive, if you're always breaking up and getting back together, yeah, I mean, I'm not a relationship coach or marriage guru or marriage or divorce lawyer or anything like that, but yeah, if you don't have a good, strong foundation in your relationship, don't do it. So yeah, if you have a strong foundation, if you have the proper structure for your relationship, you both do, not just you or her, like both of you, then okay. Next up, maturity. That is one thing I saw that even a sergeant of mine that I had when I first got into the fleet, you know, he was married, but he was one of the most immature dudes I've ever met. And I'm like, and you know, obviously his wife divorced him, took pretty much all his shit, which was kind of a scumbag thing to do, but I think he kind of deserved it. He treated her like crap. But regardless, you need to have maturity. And And maturity does not mean you're going out looking for external validation somewhere else. You're not posting booty pics on Instagram, to get 100,000 likes, and you have an OnlyFans page. Yeah, sorry, no. That's just, to me, that's not a good way to you shouldn't even be doing that, especially not in a relationship. But if you're looking for external validation and things like that, yeah, you're not very mature. Chances are, if you're in your late teens, early 20s, you're probably not mature enough for marriage. You're probably very insecure about a lot of things. You're probably, influenced by a lot of things, a lot of people around you. And if you're the type of person, or your spouse or potential spouse is the type of person that gets very easily influenced, very easily peer pressured, you got to worry about them cheating on you or whatever, probably shouldn't get married. So yeah, so like if you got a strong sense of maturity, you got a strong foundation, and also if you've been together for a while and you're serious about the relationship, okay, one of the most I would say strong pieces of advice that actually my drill instructor gave me. Well, not me, but us, the platoon, right before we graduated boot camp 10 years ago. He told us, look, deployments fucked up my life. Deployments fucked up my marriage. So a lot of you guys are gonna want to get married to your significant other, to Susie, that you're high school sweethearts, right? And a lot of times, like I said, things happen. Give it a year, maybe more, get at least one deployment under your belt. If she's still serious about the relationship, if she's still going strong with you, go for it. But before that, before you guys do a deployment, before you guys even know how the military, like in and of itself, functions, and you're used to that lifestyle, don't do it. It's not a good idea. You're not getting a strong foundation, and you're just doing things out of impulse. You're looking at the very short-term gains, but you're ignoring a lot of the long-term consequences. Guys, divorce is very tough. I can't speak from experience, but talk to any guy who's been divorced. It's brutal, especially on men. It is brutal. A lot of people don't like to talk about it. Toxic feminism likes to say that us as men are very privileged. No, that's bullshit. Okay, toxic feminism, I'm not going to get into that, but divorce is not very friendly for men. A lot of things happen, and yeah, it's not a good environment for you to be in. So save yourself the headache, save yourself the mental health, save yourself the wallet. Don't get married for the wrong reasons. And just a little thing I want to add to that, guys. The whole marriage thing, a lot of times you see like enlisted men, they get with like the really low hanging fruit, and you see officers, they're like, I guess they can be more picky. You see them with very attractive wives that are like, smart, whatever. It doesn't matter, guys. The stress is all across the board. This affects all ranks. I worked with a U.S. Army major after I left the military. I was an intern at a combatant command. I'm not going to say which one, and this guy's going to remain anonymous. But this guy he went through a brutal divorce. His wife really did a number on him. He was a total white knight, trying to save her and do everything for her. And, obviously he got screwed in the end. And, the years down the line, it was already several years that the divorce was finalized, and he was still going through it. I remember one time I saw he was going through some shit, so I bought him coffee and we hung out for a bit. And, looking at a major, a guy that was older than me, and a guy that if I was still in the military, even though we were not of the same service, I would have to salute this guy, break down crying. So this is not just an enlisted issue. This is all the way across the board issue. So guys, if you're gonna get married, think very carefully of what you're doing. Look at all the videos. Look at the one I'm linking down below. Watch as many videos as you can, because right now this is like YouTube is like the biggest university, even for life. So definitely look into that. You know, look into just the way, you know, look at the spouse channels and you know, look at what life is like for them and things like that, and if that's what you really want to do with yourself. But guys, do your research. A lot of people I know don't do this. They just jump into it and they think, you know, it's gonna all work itself out, and it doesn't. They end up very sadly heartbroken. So yeah, I know this is like a really Debbie Downer video, but it's just things that I really thought like need to be told. You know, I did almost 7 years in the military, didn't get married for a lot of the things that I saw, so I'm just giving you a heads up. You know, let me know what you think down below, if you agree, if you disagree. You know, if you're easily triggered, like I said, do not, probably, if you made it this far, then, you know, sorry, not sorry. If you're really triggered, do not click on that video down below, because it's really gonna piss you off. But yeah, these are things that I felt like needed to be said. I could probably go into more, so let me know down in the comments what you think. If you really like this video, give me one of these and hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll make more of these videos as they come. You know, so yeah, that's all I gotta say. So this segment of my channel is just a veteran / military experience. So yeah, if you like these videos, let me know. All right, guys, that is it for today. See you next time.